if there's a band, you know, they're trying to think what they should do, how can they take their music further? Why do they come to you? What do they say when they meet you? And because you're finding them from all these diverse places. What do they actually say when they meet you? Do they say, "Oh, great! I listened to, you know, I don't know, To Hell with Poverty. That was, you know, like I came out with that one." Do they come with a particular track or a particular part of your career?
People don't really talk to me about that stuff. Honestly, I mean, sometimes, I don't know, I think people come to me because they like, either because they like Gang of Four or because they like things I've produced, or both. I mean, the Latvians, for example, didn't know anything about Gang of Four.
Really?
Yeah, but they, as far as I know, but they did like the Futureheads and something else. I don't know. But you know, it was purely like from a production point of view.
Yeah.
I think people come to me because they know that I'm not just going to sit back and record it and say, "Yeah, sounds great, let's press record."
Yeah.
That I'm going to get involved and maybe pull it apart a bit and say, "Are you sure about this bit and what we're doing here and why is that there? And
yeah, do you think
why are you
that's
singing it like
missing
that?"
nowadays? I mean, that was the traditional role of the producer, you know, to be a musically not just competent but accomplished person who would be the band's or the artist's mentor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, look at George Martin. I mean, you know, you couldn't be a producer unless you could read a score, and they will. You know, that was the point about the whole early sort of 60s bands, is they were working with these sort of showbiz types who knew everything, and now it's more, you know, like a producer is almost in some cases a non-musician. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily just like from a traditional music background, like reading a score and stuff like. You know, I think it's also, I mean, Brian Eno is maybe a good example of someone that's massively creative. Is going to have all sorts of ideas about what you could do, and I'm probably more of that school.
Yeah.
A lot of ideas, not necessarily saying, "Oh, don't you think that should be a diminished seventh?" You know, I don't really, not so much that. I mean, I sort of go, I might say, "Well, shouldn't we have that note in there? I'm really, you know, I think I'm hearing that note. Shouldn't we have that in there or something?" But it's going to be a lot about ideas that, you know, make this thing. Let's try and make this thing more threatening.
Yeah.
You know, let's make this more tense. Whatever it is, you want to try and capture that thing that is exciting about the song.
Yeah.
That's the thing that you're always trying to do.
Yeah.
And if the drums are too loud and the guitar, you know, you got to figure out what's that exciting sound that really draws you into that song, that makes you think, "Oh God, I love that." You know, what is it that, and that's what you've got to kind of try and keep, that elusive thing. You've got to try and keep hold of it. You know, sometimes when you're working on the vocals or something, and just the way you happen to have the desk up and you're listening to it, God, those drums sound good, you know, and it really sounds exciting, and you know, and then when you're mixing it, you can feel like you've lost that, you know.
Yeah.
Because maybe you've gated things too much, or you've EQ'd it the wrong way because you thought you'd make it, if you add a little bit more 2K, you'd make it poke out a bit more, but it's changed the essence of it, you know.
Yeah, it's out from all your productions, is finally you can hear the vocals.
Yeah.
And all the vocal performances are there. I'm thinking of Jesus Lizard.
It's funny you should say that, because David Yao was quite surprised to hear his vocal.
Yeah. Well, so
what's going on? You know, it's. suddenly I can hear what I'm doing, you know. And he, I mean, with all the Steve Albini stuff that Jesus Lizard had done, the vocal is sort of dashed off in 5 minutes at the end, kind of thing. Once they got the kind of great instrumental track, and nobody ever talked to him about maybe the lyrics or what he was going for or what he wanted to sound like and stuff. And it was he really enjoyed it, and he said it's the first time he'd worked with somebody. And I think bands often don't really, you know, oh, that's the singer's thing, you know, it doesn't matter, you know, just let him get on with it. And he'd never had a dialogue with anybody about what he was trying to do with his voice, and what he was trying to do with the lyrics and stuff. So we had that dialogue, and you know, to me it's kind of an important thing. It's probably sort of quite old-fashioned in a way, the idea that you think that the voice is quite important and the lyrics are quite important, you know. And the only way you can really learn is to actually do it yourself. And you have to either have to have the gear and use it and on a sort of daily basis, or you have to come up through a studio system, which obviously is not what I've done. So.
And you have got the gear here.
Yeah.
And we're sitting here at a mix. Floor tom, main synth. Who is this? What are you working on at the moment?
This is a Spanish band called Standard.
Spanish band?
Yeah, well, they don't like to be called Spanish because they're Basque.
Ah.
They tolerate me.
So first the French, then
yeah,
the Latvians, now the Spanish.
Yeah, they're called Standard.
And you've worked with a huge cross-section of artists from, just thinking of the more recent ones, from the French, Azil, through to the Latvians, Detlef Zoo. And, I mean, how do these guys come to you? I mean, I know you're sort of frequently name-checked by people who are influenced by the sort of post-punk era, but how do they come to you? Do they come to you first, or do you get a huge stack of demos in the post?
I get a lot of stuff that just turns up, and you listen to it, and some of it's more interesting than others. But I mean, I have no idea. I still don't quite know how Detlef Zoo got in touch with me, but somebody turned up one day and listened to stuff, and Aldis is the singer. He's got an amazing voice, you know, just really affecting voice.
Yeah.
It's doing really well.
Is that the deciding factor for you, if you just hear something in the... Because I mean that struck me as so bizarre, you know, but it must have got a lot of people interested in the band themselves. And then I listened to them and I was like, hey, you know, that's... Wow, a band from Latvia.
Yeah.
Even sounding...
Have you heard any of it?
Yeah, even sounding Beatlesy sometimes. So obviously got all those kind of transatlantic influences and kind of stirred them all around.
Absolutely, that's right. I mean, when they turned up, when we started working on the stuff, a lot of the songs were very much unfinished.
Yeah.
And I'd sort of go, the verse sounds all right. Are we going to have anything else? Yes. And what, like a chorus or something? Yeah. And where's it going to come from? We thought maybe you could help, Andy. So it turned into a sort of co-writing thing. So we literally sort of sat around with guitars and I said, how about this? How about that? Wrote lots of the words. Because again, some of it was in sort of nonsense English, you know, just for the sake of having something to sing.
Yeah.
And so in the end, we had a full sort of body of work that we'd written together, and then lots of them we sang in Latvian as well. And I mean, it's great because it's doing really well. The first single's been #1 in Latvia for 6 weeks now.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Do other productions like that where you find yourself playing on the production even when you maybe didn't intend to? Or?
Occasionally do bits and pieces, you know, just because it seems a bit quicker doing it than trying to explain it, or you know.
What's wrong with the music industry now? You can't kind of go web browsing without seeing a website that says the future of the music industry is.
I know, and it gets a little bit tedious, you know. But I mean, obviously, the main issue is there's been so much downloading, unpaid for downloading, otherwise called file sharing.
Yeah.
Otherwise called theft, or and I think the record companies have been completely pathetic over the last 10, 15 years in the face of this. We'll see it happening, we'll see where it's going, and just they're very afraid to appear non-hip,
Yeah.
and it seems to be a little unhip to actually sort of to go after people and say, look, you've taken all this music, you haven't paid for it, we're going to take you to court and stuff like that. I mean, the main problem is they haven't bothered educating the public.
Yeah.
I mean, the number of times that you open a newspaper and there'll be an article about this will come up either as the main issue of the article or it will come up in, you know, as an aside, and people sort of say, you know, the debate rages about the morality of file sharing. And you know, I mean, if you take stuff that you don't pay for, if you go in the shop and take something off the shelf and walk out the door, you know, it's like there's no debate about it.
Yeah, and the movie industry have managed to do that. With
making a bit more of an attempt to.
Yeah.
So hold on a minute, it's people's copyrights here.
Yeah.
People have worked long and hard on this.
Yeah.
Don't you think they should have their few pence for this? And a lot of people. I had a conversation with somebody the other day. It happened to be an Italian woman about this.
Yeah.
She said, "Oh no, but it's emotion. The music is emotion. It's not a tin of beans." So, but yeah, but I mean, so you don't think it should be paid for? And there's maybe okay, you know, and it somehow, because it's music, you don't expect to pay for it. Not something tangible like a gallon of petrol or something.
The sad thing to me as well is that there hasn't been enough positive promotion. Is that many people I speak to would say, "Yeah, but where can I get that stuff that I'd like that because I can't be bothered with all that, you know, jiggery pokery,
LimeWire. And stuff.
it's broken my computer. I just want to, you know, where."
I mean, I think I totally agree with you. I think people would like to pay for stuff. They know that they should pay for it. They know they should pay for it, and they'd quite like to pay for it, you know. But I think there's whole generations that nobody's really told them that you need to pay for this stuff, and the internet, the Googles and so on, have really mealy-mouthed about all this stuff, and they talk about they pretend they're doing the world a service. And that we're sharing knowledge, and we're making the whole world of knowledge available to each individual through his or her computer. Well, people wrote this stuff.
Yeah.
And they should be paid for it.
Yeah.
People composed this music. People wrote that article. There's the copyrights. You know? Remember, there's copyrights. And the Googles, etc., will try and say that they're liberating knowledge and making it all freely available. Just happens to make them the most powerful, richest company in the world.
What do you think about these new so-called 360-degree deals that the young acts are being asked to sign? It's sort of being touted in the.
I haven't heard that term. What's that?
Well, it's kind of basically the way labels are asking to have cuts of the
everything
merchandising pie.
Oh, I know.
Touring
right.
pie.
Yeah.
You know,
that's appalling. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's being touted as a sort of the way forward.
Yeah. I wonder what the logic is, because labels have now become less and less use to anybody. From that point to a point now, which is where they're not really any use to you anyway.
Yeah.
And they'll give you a bit of money, take most of your profits, of which are vastly reduced now. And they want our merchandising, and where's the sense in that?
Yeah. Do you see the kind of stress growing on the young guys now? Because I mean, they've got to handle all kinds of things, like they've got to maintain an online presence, and you know, somebody's got to be there filling in the replying to the fans on Facebook or MySpace, or gives a whole new perspective to sort of carrying your own gear up the stairs to the gig, doesn't it? Because
Exactly.
you've got to do that as well.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
that kind of fan maintenance bit.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. For a band that's been around for a long time, because you can sell records directly to the people that want them. You don't really have to go through EMI, whatever they are now.
Yeah.
Private equity company.
Yeah. Or even do a deal with Starbucks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Dave Allen in Gang of Four talks about this stuff all the time, ad nauseum.
Yeah.
So I didn't serve it.
So do you just...
I think it's, you know, you have to be clued in with to